Hi everyone. Hey Broderick from Network Now. Thanks for joining me live on Periscope. I'm the founder of Network Now and I have about 60 premium members, and I thought I would feature them one at a time, so introduce you to their great work. So next we're going to meet Mary Fran Bontempo, who is a multi-book author, and we're going to be talking about a few tips from her book called Not Ready for Granny Panties. She's a humorist. She's kind of like the Irma Bombeck of my life. So she's a humorist, a writer, a speaker. If you have an event you'd like her to speak at, reach out to her. She'd love to talk to them. Hold on.
She is. Here I am. So I'm the Not Ready for Granny Panties lady, and what that means is the granny panties that we wear in our heads. That's the thing that I'm concerned about. I don't really care about what's going on down there. That's your business, not mine. So this is about how women in life's middle ground can be self-centered, can tweak their life in small ways and make big changes, and most importantly, can find their sense of fun. So some of the commandments in the book, that Not Ready for Granny Panties book, one of them that I really like is thou shalt scare thyself. And as caregivers and mothers and nurturers, we're terrified of fear, because it usually means that somebody that we care about is in danger, or we don't want anybody to get hurt. But there was a time when fear was fun, when you did roller coasters at haunted houses and all that stuff. And that sense of adrenaline really makes you feel alive. And that's something that we need to connect with more, especially as we age, but in the good way. So it's pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and taking up a hobby that makes that adrenaline flow. Like my husband and I took up kayaking a few years ago, and him pushing me out into the middle of the ocean in a kayak was really terrifying, but then it was exhilarating. And it hooked me into a place of aliveness, and that's something we have to regain, I think, as we get older.
You're getting a lot of hearts, by the way.
Yay!
And
I love
some
hearts.
people are saying hello to you.
Hi. So it's about that. It's about scaring yourself. Another one of the commandments in the book is thou shalt ignore more. And it's so hard to do in a world where we're constantly bombarded with things and new technologies, and that's one part of it. But I think for women, a lot of it is your kids and your family, and especially as they get older, it's okay to ignore them, because you can't fix everything for them anyway. And there comes a point at which they have to figure out stuff for themselves. So learn to ignore your children. That's another tip. It's a biggie. It's okay. Ignore your children. It's a good thing.
Make them independent.
Make them independent.
Problem
Yeah,
solvers.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
They have to figure it out for themselves. And that gives you more time to figure out stuff for yourself too. So that's a big thing too.
A lot of people saying hello and hi. Someone
Yay.
from the UK.
Hi.
Thanks for all the hearts. If you're new to Periscope, all you need to do is type into the comment box to send us a question. Oh, some Spencer Cox 97 wants to know, do you have any relationship advice? So go a little off track.
Okay, so here's the most important relationship advice that I can give anybody, and this is from someone who's been married for almost 34 years. You have to have a relationship with yourself. That's the most important thing. Because even at 34 years, for a really long time, I was looking for things from my husband, looking for approval and looking for things that, not that he wasn't approving of me or wasn't giving me, but not in the way that I needed. You know, my needs weren't being met. And eventually when I realized that I could meet my own needs as far as that went, it freed us up to go to a whole other place. So you have to be okay with yourself. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, the second question from that person was about being clingy, so that's a perfect answer.
Yes, and again, it's all about that need. I think everybody has that need for approval. Love me, love me, love me. But you know, you have to love yourself. It sounds silly, but you have to love yourself.
Don't make me block you, person. No, be nice now. It's a family show.
Oh dear. I don't know, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
So for those, you're welcome, Spencer. For those of you that just joined, this is Mary Fran Bontempo. She's the author of Not Ready for Granny Panties. So you were giving us some tips on fear.
On fear, yes, and about embracing it and making it become a healthy thing for you as opposed to something to be afraid of. And, you know, especially when you get a little bit older, I think it's easy to be timid in this world. And one of the other commandments in the book is thou shalt be conspicuous, and it's about stepping out, and it's about claiming that space for yourself, even in a world where there's a lot of noise. Don't be afraid to make your own noise. Make your own noise and claim your spot.
Somebody wants to know about friends who won't listen and always shout.
Find new friends.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when there are people in your life and it's more work for you to have a relationship with them than it is to enjoy them, then find new friends. And that sounds really harsh. Or, it's turn the conversation to yourself. If they're not listening to you, then pick up your phone and distract yourself. Let them know that you're not paying attention to that shouting. There are ways to disconnect from those people in the midst of those things, and that's the best way to cut that out of your life. You have to cut it out of your own head. You can't control them, but you can control you.
What if you live with them?
Find a nice, quiet Zen place with a Buddha statue and take up yoga. I think that's a really hard thing, but that's why they have doors. Find a room that you can go to and find a little Zen place for yourself. And you have to disconnect. You really have to disconnect from people like that. If you live with them, it's even more important to find your own space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is about boundaries.
Yeah.
For those of you that just joined, this is Jamie Broderick. I'm the founder of Network Now, and today we're talking with Mary Fran Bontempo, who is the author of Not Ready for Granny Panties, and she's coming out with a new book in July. What's the name of it?
The Woman's Book of Dirty Words.
The Woman's Book of Dirty Words.
But
right.
it's not your typical dirty words, like the list that my son wrote when he was 6 on the bus. He came home with this list of dirty words that I was horrified, and he told me he wrote them down because he wasn't allowed to say them. It's words that for everybody else take them to their happy place. Words like dinner. What's for dinner, Mom? And vacation. Everybody else likes and make us verklempt. So it's how to get beyond that and change your self-talk in a fun way.
Any other tips on overcoming fear, or why fear shouldn't be a scary thing?
Well, because first of all, it's part of life. Our world you can be terrified at any moment of any day. You pick up a newspaper, you go online, you do whatever, it's out there. So the choice becomes, do you let the world dictate what you're afraid of, or do you choose what to be afraid of? And then therefore go after it and add to your life. And I just found in the few, and it's a relative thing. Everybody's got a threshold. Don't terrorize yourself,
right.
But don't be afraid to push yourself beyond those things that you think you can't do.
Mm-hmm. Mary Fran and I have a mutual friend. Her name is Luann Kahn. So you could look her up too, because she would totally resonate with this topic as well. So she started a blog called I Dare Me. Well, actually, her book is called I Dare Me. Her blog was 365 days of challenging yourself to do something new. So she started with the polar bear plunge and did all kinds of different things every day, like walking backwards, going across,
And that was the thing with Luann. Like, it wasn't necessarily huge stuff that she hadn't done before, and even the simplest thing sort of opened things up for her and took her to a new place. So it's about, scaring yourself doesn't have to be huge. It can just be doing something silly and that makes you feel uncomfortable. There's a big difference between terror and discomfort, but they're both levels of fear.
Right. Okay, so any last final words?
I guess just like I said, don't be afraid to be afraid. That's what it comes down to. Don't be afraid to be afraid. If that adrenaline rush makes you feel alive and it hooks you into life, then that's what it's all about. Nothing good comes without a little bit of fear.
Yeah, our friend Jen Groover always says, get comfortable with being a little
uncomfortable. It opens up the world.
Yeah.
It really does.
What about fear of death, someone wants to know?
Well, that's a really interesting thing. And I think as I've gotten older, I've become more spiritual, and maybe it's all just a fabrication, who knows. But I feel like that if you have any kind of an awareness of this not being it, then that next phase becomes a little less scary. And for me, at least it's a personal decision, but for me, that idea that there's something beyond this makes all that a little less scary. And if you really still are afraid of it, then by all means use the time that you have now to do as much as you can to enjoy your life.
Somebody said that they have social anxiety, and this has been really helpful.
I have enormous social anxiety, and people don't believe that about me because I do find it fairly easy to speak like this, but it's a gargantuan effort. I am much more comfortable at parties. If somebody would give me a corner in a book, I'd be much happier with that. But it has enriched my life to get out of that place. And I have to thank you, Jamie, for part of that too, because I am not a networker by nature. Like I said, give me a corner in a book and I'm fine. But the experiences and the people that I've met through just forcing myself into those situations that are not comfortable for me have really enriched my life. So take it in small bits, but push yourself a little bit. You will be rewarded tenfold for your efforts.
Right. Yeah, I always say not to deprive the world of your talents. And there are so many amazing people out there that want to support you and get to know you. If you go to a group that is really supportive and warm and welcoming, they'll be thrilled to meet you. So you got to try it though. You got to put your toe in the water
Put
and
your toe in the water, yeah.
give it a whirl.
And you'll be amazed at how those little changes will enhance your life.
Fran.
Yay.
So Mary Fran
This is fun.
Bontempo, author of Not Ready for Granny Panties. You got lots of hearts, girl. You got fans. You got fans. So you can follow her on Twitter. I think I put her Twitter handle on the Periscope feed. It was at No Granny Panties. She also has a personal Twitter, which is Mary F. Bontempo.
Mary F. Bontempo, yes.
So if you want to meet some more of my members, follow me on Twitter or on Periscope. It's Jamie Broderick from Network Now signing off. See you in a few minutes. Bye.